Okay, so one of the suggestions was from Oz. That was with the particles. So if they hit a wall, then they would like spawn particles going backwards or something, right? Just so I know what I'm doing. Let's see. So I'm gonna start by just have a basic particle system. I made this shape. I thought I made it an edge. Not an edge, I guess. Cone is fine. Be a second. Yeah, edge works. You just have to make that rotation angle 0. Change the resting space to world. And if we rotate it, we have a bunch of particles going around whatever direction we're facing. So yeah, so when we hit a wall, we can just activate this particle system at the wall, and it should shoot backwards. If we set the rotation to be what the bullet rotation is, then it should just shoot backwards from it. So I'm going to just make the particle system look a little nicer. Let's do like between 0.2 and 0.5 or something. Change their start size. 0.1 and 0.5 or something like that. I'm also going to make the edge smaller. Ideally, we would just shoot out like 10 of these or something once we hit, and then we stop. Let's see though. Copy these over from last time, so I think they have the color settings weird. Interesting. Let me do color over lifetime. I think because they're renderers. Different, no? Sprites diffuse. Nope. Okay, that's it for particles. It looks a little more noticeable, at least. I'll just make it like black and it fades. I guess that's fine. Then we need to let's see. Gravity simulation. I think that might be good. Like that. Let me see. Let's save it as a prefab. And then this was in our projectile controller. So we can shoot. So we just need to do particle prefab. If we attach the particles to the game object and then just enable and disable it, that wouldn't really work because the projectiles are enabled and disabled immediately when they're spawned, so they would just disappear too. So we're gonna spawn an instance of this prefab and then just tell it to spawn some particles. just do, let's get a reference to particle system. And we'll do reawake. We'll instantiate it. And then we'll just disable it. Why that's there, weird. There we go. So we'll spawn it, and then we'll just deactivate it, and then when we hit a wall, we're going to activate it at that point. And let's see. You just do it in here, I think. So we'll set active to true. And we'll say particle instance dot we can just say play. Let's see. Oh, we can just say emit, I think. Just say emit particle amount. So we'll just make an int down here, public int particle amount. So we'll just spawn that many, and then we gotta put the position too, and rotation. Dot transform dot position equals transform position. Also the rotation equals same rotation. Then we activate it, and it should be good. I'm going to just set this to be disabled at the beginning. Actually, sorry, to set the emission to 0 at the beginning, my bad. So it's not spawning them after it's already spawned in. Then I need to go to the, I have a bullet prefab somewhere. Projectile, there. So this needs particle prefab. Right there. We'll set it to spawn like 15 or something. Hopefully it just works immediately, but we'll see. Yeah, there you go. Doesn't look amazing because I haven't messed with the particles that much, but little effect when you're shooting. For some reason it's detecting this as a wall, but weird. But yeah, hopefully that helps a little bit. Let's see. I'm gonna make an action scene now for the dialogue. Make some new folders real quick. Before I start with this, anybody have any questions or suggestions on what I should show before I do this? Cool. So I'm gonna go and make a new folder. I'm gonna do PC. Open it up here. Now with dialogue, you could do it a few different ways. You could do, well, the easiest way to do it is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an array of strings. There's a tutorial on how to do it with queues instead, which is if you've taken data structures, that's like an ordered list basically that goes in order of whatever element you entered first. Like if you stand in line at the store, the first person in line is the first one to go, and then the next one, and then the next one. So when you add something to the queue, it goes to the very back of the list. So it's easy to work with because then you can just say on queue, which takes the first element, and then you can just dequeue it and get rid of it once you're done with it. But we're just gonna keep track of what our current index we're on, and then just increment from there. When we're at the end, we'll just exit out of the dialog. I'll make little buttons for that. So, dialog, we need a reference to the actual text UI. We're gonna get a reference to the base UI. Call it UI parent. So we can just enable and disable this whenever we want to start talking to the NPC. I'll make some handy functions for this. I'll do start dialog. I'll do end dialog, and I'll do click void next line. Name this to exit dialog. Then we have to keep track of what our current index is. So when we start dialog, we want to first enable the UI there, and we want to change the text to be what our first line of text is. So we'll do UI parent dot set active to true. We'll reset our current index to 0. And we'll say dialog. If I can type, that'd be nice. Dialog UI dot text equals dialog sub current index. Yeah, so that should start our dialog. We'll have a little button at the bottom right of our little dialog box. It'll say like continue, and then when we hit continue, it'll just go to the next line. And this will check for if we still have more dialog to show. And if not, we'll just exit dialog, which will just say to deactivate set current index to 0 probably again, just in case, and then clear the text. So I'm gonna copy this over here, set it to false. I'm gonna put it above that just in case it wants to throw an error from that. So text equals nothing, and we don't really need this, but I'll leave it, why not? And then with our next one, we'll say if current index is less than or equal to dialog dot length, then current index plus plus, and we'll update our actual dialog. Else, we will exit dialog. We actually want to be able to test this, so I'm going to just set it up so that we can just click on NPC, and it'll start dialogue for us. So do public void, I guess just there was an onClick event. Sorry, I didn't prepare this beforehand, so it's just on mouse down. Cool. It's all improv now. On mouse down, and we'll say start dialogue. That should hopefully just work. Set true, next, and that, yeah. This might not even take that long at all, huh? So here we're just gonna set up sprite. I don't think I have any handy NPC sprites nearby. Let me see if I do. The barbarian dude for the game, but no actual NPCs anywhere. Let me just throw a random sprite on it then. Our plane's gonna talk. Does that make sense? NPC. I'm gonna give it a collider, 2D. Doesn't matter if it's trigger or not. Probably wants to be regular though, so you can actually collide with the NPC and not, walk through them. NPC controller. I think we might need a rigid body just in case. I don't think we do, but just in case. And I'll freeze its position and rotation and stuff, so it doesn't actually go anywhere. Plus, if you have NPCs moving around the town and stuff, then you want them to have rigid bodies so you can have them navigate and collide with stuff anyway. So we'll do UI now. It's gonna be a little weird. It's a little more setup for this. Let's do an image. We'll put it on the bottom row. There's some UI stuff built in, so I'm gonna just do that one. I'm gonna do it by like 500. That's kind of massive. I don't know. Guess it's fine. Depends how big the text is. The text might be huge compared. I guess that's fine. Anchor this to the top left. 350 by 100. Alt clicking helps. Make this look nice, but 330 by 85, 80. I don't know. Gonna duplicate it. Also, it helps if we look at it from the scene view. If we just set UI. Like that-ish. Cool. So we can see from '80. Why is that not? Let me see real quick. It's kind of good. So it can only display on this little part. The other ones can display on the bottom section. That one's 25, so that one should be like 55 maybe. And it's 330 or 330. This one I probably go to the middle. Yeah, that should be good. And let me do this. Just gonna generate some random text. Let's do generate one sentence for me real quick. Copy. I guess I can just paste it in here, huh? That works. And we can also, well, I guess I'll make this one like 50. I'll anchor it from like the bottom. Because I want this one to be like the name needs to stand out a little more. Just throwing some random text so we can see if it works. So I'm gonna go to the dialogue. I'm gonna make the size like 3 or something. Copy paste some stuff in here. Some lorem ipsum random text generator thing. It looks like the same exact sentence. That doesn't help us. Generate 3 sentences. Let's see. Cool. I'm just going to drag in the UI parent. I guess you don't have to have the canvas. You can just do the image instead. The image, the dialogue is going to be the second one. Also need to put on our button. I need to fix this again. I'm going to center it this time. And I'm going to add a button to this. I'm going to make it size like... change its text to pride and to continue. And then I'll make it like 100 maybe. Yeah, that's probably good. Just anchor it to the bottom right. And then I'm gonna drag in the NPC stuff for this. Pass in next line. And one more thing we can do here. NPC name. NPC name UI. I'll just equals NPC name. I'll just check this every time just in case. Or update it every time just in case. And then clear it. And then we go to the NPC and we just drag in the first text, there. And then, oh, sorry. We deactivate it, and I could actually see where my NPC is now. 0, 0, 0. There we go. Come face down. Enemy ship, whatever. Focus on it so I don't have to see the UI ugly in the background. Cool. I'll just click on it and then opens that. It did not change the text though. Cool. Oh, I didn't give it a name, that's why. Duh. Click on it, NPC A, and it has the text. Continue, goes to the next line. Continue, goes to the next line, and then hopefully, nope, of course not. Out of the way. So we have to check if it's less than dialog.length -1. That was going to happen. I thought the equal down was going to fix it, but guess not. No? Current index. Let's see. Length should be 3. And current index should be 3 at that point and then leave. So I hit it and it's 3. Is that okay? It gives me an error, but it still quits out of it. If current index is less than dialog.length -1. Let's do this backwards instead. See if that works any better. Okay, that looks better. Cool. I don't know why it wouldn't check that before, but whatever. Oh, and also we should be able to just enter dialogue again right after that. Yep, and it just loops. Cool. So that's some simple dialogue you can set up. You can do conditional dialogue too for if you've already talked to the NPC or not and they say different things. You could just give different dialogues in here. So like this first string is for when you first talk to them. The second string is if you talk to them the second time. This one's if you get a quest from them, and do like an if statement to see if you've done the quest or if you are in progress or not. You just check a bunch of bools in here and then just start dialogue based on which one you're currently on. Like you could just pass in string dialogue, or you could pass in like that, and you could just say show all these dialogues until you reach the end. So yeah. Any questions? I still have like 40 minutes left. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably just gonna stop soon, but maybe I'll just generalize this to make it better. I guess I can try that for a bit. Let's see. Let's do this then. I'm going to make a generic class for dialogue, and I'm going to just put this in that class. And then I'll just have the NPC just contain certain dialogues and pass it to some dialog controller maybe? I don't even know. Let's see. Do we need a name and a string for dialogue? Yeah, let's see. So I'm gonna make the NPC is gonna have different things in here that'll just check and pass different dialogues based on certain rules, and then the dialogue is just gonna contain the NPC name and the dialogue itself, and then the dialog controller is just gonna show the different dialogues, and it's probably just gonna have these functions in there to say, hey, start this dialogue, show the next line, and exit this dialogue when you're ready. So let me see. I'm gonna paste that into here. I'm gonna do paste this one, and this one. So name and dialogue. Dialogue looks like a made-up word to me now. Typed it too many times today. You need a reference to both UIs. I think the NPC just needs the rules based on what dialogue to have. And yeah, I don't know what else the NPC actually needs for now. So I'll just do this real quick. Dialog controller D controller, and I'll do a public dialog and to make this show up in the inspector, we're gonna do dialog, and we're gonna do serialize. I might have to do unity.serializable or something. Let's see. The NPC controller doesn't need those anymore because it has the dialogue itself. It doesn't need the NPC or the UI parent because that's going to be activated by the UI itself. And I'll pass in dialog D. So I can just do something like this. Get rid of that. Cool. So D has properties that I need to reference. Did I paste these in the wrong spot? I think I just deleted them without. Yeah, I just deleted them. Oh well. Using Unity engine.ui. Like text NPC name UI. And I can do d.npc name. I could do d.dialog, d.dialog length. Name B does not out. I don't think I need to pass in the dialogue for this, do I? Yeah, I just end it. So these are more general now. So basically it does the same thing except for we pass in a dialogue when we call it. And that dialogue is a name of the NPC and an array of strings for the dialogue to show. And it should automatically check to see if it's done or not, and exit if it is. And then I think in here we just need to grab the dialog controller. do find object of type, dialog controller. Hopefully it works. Let's see. So first, we notice this thing's all gone now. I don't want to attach it to the thing though. Let me see real quick. Give me just a second. Is it like this? Thought it was like this, but do we have to? Because it's a model behavior still. Let's see. There we go. That's what we wanted. Okay, cool. So because it has nothing in there, we can actually show it in the, it's not inheriting from anything. If you inherit from model behavior, it means you have to attach it to a game object to actually see what's in there. We don't want that. So we're just going to make it inherit from nothing, and we're going to give NPC name and dialogue. So I'm going to do NPC A, the dialogue size 1. Yeah. I could do this too. I could do dialogues, pass in dialogues 0. So we can just say size is 1. Yeah, so we can add different dialogues to this. So we have one dialogue, which has NPC name, NPC A. We'll give him 3 lines of text. Here's some text to test the dialogue and see if it works. And then we just need to make, this is also helpful because we can add the dialog controller to the canvas itself, and that way you don't have to set up different buttons and UI for each different NPC. So we're just going to go, the text for the NPC is there, the dialogue text should be there, and the parent is not itself. The parent is the image. Okay, index, we'll just use that for a test. That's fine. And then I think that's all we need. Let's see. Some text. Oh, so first not adding the next line. The button is not set up different. That's why. So we're going to go to the button, and we're going to go to the canvas instead, and go dialog controller dot next. Oh, we cannot go next because dialog controller has to have dialogue. There we go. Let's do this then. Dialog current dialog. Do it that way. So then we'll just say current dialog equals D. And then we'll just say equals current dialog equals current dialog. Always check for if the current dialog is over or not. We'll just delete this. Buttons can have parameters for some of the functions, but because we set up our own serializable class, it doesn't recognize dialogue as a thing, because you can pass int and stuff to buttons. Like I think we did it for the scene manager, moving from scenes with buttons. then you can pass in the string of the scene you want to move to, but we can't do that because dialogue is not one of those things, one of those already built into Unity. So current dialogue sets our current dialogue, and then next line, and then exit. So we should be good now, hopefully. Oh, forgot to pass it again. Next line, there we go. Now, hopefully it works. Yep. Cool. So that dialogue works. And then we can just add more functionality into the NPC. Like, Fool has talked to equals false. Has talked to equals true. You can also do this at the end of the dialogue. If you want to, you can have stuff happen at the end of the dialogue. Then has talked to equals true. So I'll say if not has talked to, then do this. Else, then I will do this line instead, and I'll just pass in a different dialogue there. So then I'll just do dialogue sizes 2 now. And he has the same name, whatever. I'll just give him like 2 lines. I'll say, you've already talked to me. Get out of here. The first time, says here's some text to test, see if it works. And then you've already talked to me. And then, yeah. Every time after that, he just gets mad. So, yeah. Fancier dialogue, and you can just have your NPCs have different dialogues and then just find the dialog controller and start it that way. So it has more functionality to it. And yeah. I don't know what else to do with this, so I guess that's it for now. If there's any questions, let me know. Just a simple dialogue system that is not necessary for any of the games unless you want it to be in your game. If you need ideas for stuff, then yeah, cool. And I'll post this on GitHub later. So yeah, I'll hang out for a bit if anybody has questions, but that's about it for today. I'll do an item system Thursday. I didn't want to start that because I figured that would be a little more involved because it'll have multiple classes and inheriting from and stuff like that. So you have to get close to them to pick them up and stuff like that. Well, they had different actions, so didn't want to do that on the same day as this and not finish in time. So yeah, I think I'll stop recording now and stay for questions.